Hi! In this video, I will explain about practical concerns in the formation of a group. I am Ide Kurniaswasti and I'm here for Group Counseling Course International Undergraduate Program Fakultas Psikologi Universitas Gadjah Mada. Okay, we start the first issues of practical concern in the formation of group. Open versus closed group. Open groups are characterized by changing membership. As certain members leave, the new members are admitted and the group continues. Closed groups typically have some time limitation, with a group meeting for a predetermined number of sessions. Generally, members are expected to remain in the group until it ends, and new members are not added. The question of whether a group should be open or closed depends on a number of variables. In some settings, such as mental health facility in a state hospital or some day treatment centers, group leaders do not have a choice between an open and a closed group. Because the membership of the group changes almost from week to week, continuity between session and cohesion within the group are difficult to achieve. Cohesion is possible even in cases where members attend only a few times, but a high level of activity is demanded of inpatient group therapies. If you are forming an open group, you want to have some idea about the rate of turnover of the members. How long a given member can participate in the group may be unpredictable. Therefore, your interventions need to be designed with the idea in mind that many members may attend for only one or two sessions. In conducting an open group, it is good to remind all the members that this may be the only time they have with one another. The interventions that you make need to be tailored to that end. For example, you would not want to facilitate a member's exploration of painful concern that could not be addressed in that session. You also have a responsibility to facilitate member interactions that can lead to some form of resolution within a given session. This involves leaving enough time to explore with members what they have learned in a session and how they feel about leaving each session. Okay, the next issue is about voluntary and involuntary membership. Members of an involuntary group may exhibit a lack of cooperation through sarcasm and silence. This gives members some power in a situation in which they feel powerless. If you respond in a negative way to this behavior, you are likely to entrench this pattern. It is important not to respond with defensiveness when dealing with a client who doesn't want to participate. Here are some intervention statements that may increase the odds that an involuntary member will become a voluntary participant. The first, many group members have felt the same way you do now. Maybe they could tell you what it was like for them. The second statement, what do you know about counseling? Have you ever participated in a group? The third statement, why do you think you were sent here? The fourth statement, what would the person who sent you here tell me about why you are here? The fifth sentence: how do you cope with having to do something you don't want to do? The sixth sentence: how would you like it to be? What can you do to get there? As a group leader or facilitator, if you understand the dynamics of a group member's negative reactions and do not respond defensively, the intensity of the problematic behavior is likely to diminish. As the recipient of this uncooperative behavior, you may feel personally rejected, but you cannot afford the luxury of feeling vulnerable to rejection. Process your reactions at a later time through self-reflection, supervision, and consultation. Okay, let's continue to the next issue. Homogeneous versus heterogeneous group. Whether a group should have a homogeneous membership or heterogeneous one depends on the group's purpose and goals. In general, for a specific target population with given needs, a group composed entirely of members of that population is more appropriate than a heterogeneous group. Consider a group composed entirely of older people. It can focus exclusively on the specific problems that characterize their developmental period, such as loneliness, isolation, lack of meaning, rejection, and financial pressures. This similarity of the members can lead to a great degree of cohesion, which in turn allows for an open and intense exploration of their life crisis. Members can express feelings that they typically withhold, and their life circumstances can give them a bond with one another. Even though members may share a common problem, their life experiences will differ, which bring another level of diversity into these homogeneous groups. And now we'll talk about meeting place. Where might the group hold its meeting? Many places will do, but privacy is essential. Members must be assured that they will not be overheard by people in adjoining rooms. Groups often fail because of their physical setting. If they are held in a day hall or ward full of distractions, productive group work is not likely to occur. We like a group room that is not cluttered and that allows for comfortable seating arrangement. We prefer setting that enables the group to sit in a circle. This arrangement lets all the participants see one another and allows enough freedom of movement that members can spontaneously make physical contact. It is a good idea for co-leaders to sit across from each other. In this way, the nonverbal language of all members can be observed by one leader or the other, and we versus them atmosphere can be avoided. This also allows the co-leaders to read each other more easily. You need to also consider the meeting place in terms of its effectiveness for the work that you want to do with young clients. Will they be able to roam around freely and not have to be continually asked to talk softly so as not to disturb others in an adjacent room? Will the site for group meetings provide privacy and freedom from interruption? Is there anything in the room that could easily be damaged by children or that is obviously unsafe for them? Will the furniture in room comfortably accommodate active children? Okay, there's a lot of things to be prepared, but don't worry. Next is group size. What is a desirable size for a group? Well, the answer depends on several factors: age of clients, experience of the leader, type of group, and problems to be explored. For instance, a group composed of elementary school children might be kept to 3 or 4, whereas a group of adolescents might be made up of 6 to 8 people. For weekly ongoing groups of adults, about 8 people may be ideal. A group of this size is big enough to give ample opportunity for interaction and small enough for everyone to be involved and to feel a sense of the group. Frequency and length of meetings. How often should a group meet? For how long? Should a group meet twice weekly for an hour sessions, or is 1.5 to 2 hours once a week preferable? With children and adolescents, it may be better to meet more frequently and for a shorter period to suit their attention span. If the group is taking place in a school setting, the meeting times can correspond to regularly scheduled class periods. For groups of relatively well-functioning adults, a 2 hours weekly session might be preferable. This 2-hour period is long enough to allow some intensive work, yet not so long that fatigue sets in. You can choose any frequency and duration that suit your style of leadership and the type of people in your group. For an inpatient group composed of lower functioning members, it is desirable to meet on a daily basis for 45 minutes. Because of the members' psychological impairment, it may not be possible to hold their attention for a longer period. Even for higher functioning inpatient groups, it is a good practice to meet several times a week, but this group might be scheduled for 90 minutes. Next is the issues of short-term versus long-term groups. What should the duration of the group be? For most groups, a termination date can be announced at the outset, so members will have a clear idea of the time limits under which they are working. In a college group typically run about 15 weeks, the length of a semester. With high school students, the same length seems ideal. It is long enough for trust to develop and for work toward behavioral changes to take place. Elementary and middle school groups typically run for 6 to 8 weeks, depending on administrator and teacher support for allowing students to miss class for the group session. The advantages of time-limited groups are that the time span allows for cohesion and productive work, and that members can then continue practicing newly acquired interpersonal skills with a group of people. Members are often motivated to work because they realize that they do not have forever to attain their personal goals. Yay! Finally, we reach an end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope this will help you study a bit more about group counseling. See ya!